Well, what started out to be a huge push on getting this old Bronco back on the road has ended up being a disappointment. After putting two starters on and doing my research, I realized that the clutch, pressure plate, flywheel that were provided when the transmission was rebuilt is not the proper one. It's got a 157 tooth flywheel on it. Evidently, the bell housing is for a 164 tooth flywheel. What does that mean? Starter won't engage, and I've got to pull the transmission out and put a new flywheel in. It's never fun doing this kind of work. Stay tuned. That's where I've been the last couple of weeks, not getting a whole lot of content done, just making a huge push on this Bronco, and now disappointment. So let's see if we can't get this thing out and get everything back working the way it should. All right, so here we are. I counted the teeth on the flywheel, 157. I wrote it up there so that I'll never forget. Anyway, here we go. We were almost there, and now we're not. So, have you ever been here before? Let me know. I do know how to tell the difference now between a few of the bell housings, and I never knew there was that many different bell housings on a Ford, but now I do. And I learned the hard way. So, let's get all this stuff out and put it back together. All right, well, the transmission is out and parts are ordered. And let's see, see what it looks like up underneath here. All right, that sucked, but gotta do what you gotta do, I guess. Fixing to go get the parts and take this thing out. Very important step when you're replacing your flywheel. I use brand new grade 8 flywheel bolts. I torqued them to 80 foot-pounds of torque when I put the flywheel on. I took the 157 tooth flywheel off. I put the 164 tooth flywheel on. I had 5 bolts torqued down to the proper specs. The next 6th bolt, brand new, but used once, I torqued it down and it never would pop the torque wrench. I pulled the bolt back out and it stretched probably 1/16 of an inch. It was just about ready to pop. So I would suggest not reusing the original and only using a new set once. They were ARP bolts that I put back in here the first time. I'm putting ARP bolts back in here again because I do feel like they're probably one of the best, but that's what happens. So safe, not sorry, and I'm glad that it happened while the transmission was out. So anyway, another set of bolts and on with the next step on fixing this problem. All right, and I'm sure I exaggerated a little bit on how much the bolt stretched. You can see how straight this bolt on the right is and how the bolt on the left, excuse me for shaking, you can see how straight the bolt on the right is. The bolt on the left, about 4 threads from the head, you can start seeing it hourglass right in there. And that curvature is where that bolt is stretching, and that's where it's gonna pop. And then it was gonna leave the bottom half inside the crankshaft. That would ruin the day again. So replace these bolts. Never use them but once. All right, there we go. All torqued up. All right, back in for the third time. 3 times the charm, isn't that what they say? And a little touch-up work to do, but is that wire undone? All right, power to the distributor, power to the battery, battery's on, gas is in the bowl. Ready? All right. Well, guys, hot rod, 4-wheel drive, it doesn't matter. When you build one from scratch like this and you put all your time and effort into it, it's always great when you crank it for the first time. And you just saw it, very first fire up, no editing, no nothing, a little bit of gas, fired right up. Man, that makes you feel good. Transmission, starter's working, clutch is working, all the linkage and everything's hooked back up. I spent the whole day today chasing brake fluid leaks and hoses and lines and stuff, and that wasn't fun, but now the brakes are bled. So we've got clutches, we've got brakes, it runs, so there's nothing keeping it from driving except lots more bolts to go over and double check. So it should be running and driving. Not ready for the mud yet, but we're getting close. I got to put the fenders, hood, doors and everything back on it. And I've still got to paint the grill. But you guys that have been with me from start to finish on this, thanks for sticking around. This old Bronco is going to see the roads again soon. So as always, thanks for watching. And if you're through watching, then get out the garage and go build something. See you on the next episode.